A massive next-gen update for The Witcher 3 is here. Aside from improved gameplay features such as a better combat camera, heavily upgraded visuals and much more, one major question remains. How well does it perform on the SteamDeck? Joining me today is the one and only Kyle aka Cryobite. You know, the guy that does the math so you don't have to. How are you doing, man?
Hey, great to be here. I'm fine now, I can finally sleep again.
You definitely knocked it out of the park with your recent video.
Thanks, man.
But not many know how much time and effort such videos take.
Yeah, no kidding. This one took weeks.
Anyway, let's discuss Witcher things. I was pretty surprised at how gorgeous Michael Cera looks in DirectX 11, right?
He looks phenomenal in DX11, but man, does he look rough in DX12.
Upon starting, you will be greeted with CDPR's proprietary launcher you may already know from Cyberpunk 2077, showcasing recent news and the ability to log into GOG in order to enable cross-progression and some other neat stuff. There, you will be also able to choose between DirectX 11 and 12, but this time we simply opt for DX11 instead. This is for reasons we will come back to later on.
Hey man, don't forget about the classic branch.
Oh yeah, you're right, thanks. If you want to play the last-gen version of Geralt's Adventure, you can opt into the classic beta branch in the game's Steam properties. But since we are all here for the juicy stuff, I guess it's a smart idea to focus on the next-gen upgrade, right?
Yeah, I completely agree, especially since the new version has so many improvements over the classic branch. Plus, the results were both surprising and satisfying.
Before we finally head into the framerate comparisons, we want to clearly advise against using NVIDIA Hairworks on SteamDeck. The performance impact of this proprietary gimmick is anything but a good fit for what we are trying to achieve.
Aside from the fact that performance is horrible, NVIDIA themselves have forgotten about Hairworks. Both Hairworks development documentation and the actual development kit download pages have been pulled from NVIDIA's website completely.
We will stick to full-screen VSync disabled, native res at 800p and an unlimited frame rate. In the past we often had to lock the frame rate through in-engine options like VSync because the limiter in the quick action menu often resulted in a pretty bad input lag. The recent SteamOS 3.4 update, however, introduced an allow tearing option in the quick action menu, which disables the system-wide forced triple buffered VSync, right?
Exactly. I go more in depth in my Witcher 3 video and plan to make a dedicated video on it.
This means in the long run, you now could simply go for a 40 FPS limit at 40 Hz in the quick action menu, toggle the tearing option on and make sure to disable any in-engine limiter or vertical sync setting.
That's correct, but results will likely vary per game. The feature is still very new and we have yet to really put it through its paces.
Yeah, I mean there's still a reason people like you and me put a lot of effort into such videos anyway.
Someone's got to do it.
While the game's stock presets low, medium, high, ultra and ultra plus may come with vastly different results in terms of overall frame rate, there are surprising performance hogs hidden between the lines you wouldn't expect at the first glance. Especially
when you take the fidelity differences into account.
Yeah, indeed. We also opted for using the temporal anti-aliasing upscaler all the time because we are fairly limited here. The alternatives are FXAA or no anti-aliasing at all, which both won't do the visual brilliance nor the small little details of the Northern Kingdom's justice at all.
Get it? Small little details?
Especially foliage and shadows as well as the render distances feel like the biggest benefits on the higher settings, but not without a major punch on the frame rates and added rendering stutter. In terms of a fidelity to performance impact ratio, the settings that most affect visuals are actually the cheapest. You will surely want to go for the highest terrain, texture quality and detail level.
Real quick, I'm sorry for interrupting this. It's pronounced terrain, not terrain. Sorry, I had to not laugh real hard there. I just want to let you know.
It's Leviosa, not Leviosa.
Yeah, exactly.
We highly recommend also trying to use the highest possible water quality. While the performance cost is rather small, the results are pretty impressive, especially compared to the lower water quality settings that don't even visually interact with your boat or character.
Both foliage visibility range and detail level play a bigger role during traversal on horseback. Meanwhile, the numbers of background characters setting tends to bring a massive performance toll the moment you enter cities and villages. You'll see how we handle this in the preset section.
Shadow quality is an interesting one, because it not only defines the overall clarity and shadow detail, but also the render distance. Still, in the end we went for the shadow quality set to high for the 30 and medium for the 40 FPS goal here, which felt like the best compromise.
Oh, and we didn't notice any differences between screen space reflections set to low or high in either fidelity or performance. So we chose to err on the side of caution and select low. As for screen space ambient occlusion, it has a massive impact on the final look and depth of the scene.
Yeah, to no surprise.
Right, so it's a no-brainer to leave SSAO enabled.
But they ditched HBAO Plus from the classic release, which would have looked superior.
Definitely true, but it would have impacted performance much more than the new version, so let's roll with it.
Now onto the setting that hurts the most. You may have already noticed that we skipped the grass density. That one, I tell you that, is a bad boy.
And when he says bad, he means really, really bad. More grass is definitely nice, but not at the cost of nearly 40% of the possible performance.
While the grass density looks more vivid on higher settings, it somehow ended up as the most expensive one. As far as I know, you even had to go with the lowest while leveraging your fixes, right?
That's exactly right. During the course of my testing, I found that no amount of tweaking could offset the cost of grass density. This reminds me of my findings on DX11 versus DX12. We can see that DX11 had a 14%.
Hold on. We are on the Deckverse channel and my main focus is showcasing the game as a crafting experience rather than throwing numbers around. I know this is more of your thing, so we will definitely link your video in the description for everyone looking to dive into those numbers. Anyway, I think you've waited long enough, so here's the Witcher 3 next gen update with my optimized settings. In this case, it's totally worth having two distinctive sets of settings to either have a more fluid experience or the best possible visuals on the SteamDeck.
Especially since we're talking about such a timeless masterpiece.
Right. Don't forget to set the game's refresh rate to 60 Hz and limit the frame rate to 30, but also enable allow tearing.
Combined with VSync being disabled, this will result in less input latency.
If you still want to opt for more responsive combat and that fancy near 60 feeling, this is the golden 40 preset. Just make sure to set the refresh rate to 40 and lock the frame rate to 40 as well. It's important to keep in mind though, that this preset won't be quite as smooth as the other one and will also result in shorter battery life. As always, you will find those lists on our amazing Discord server, so be sure to say hello. On top of that, check out the Deckverse Patreon page, where you can support my work and gain access to exclusive content,
like outtakes from this video,
and more if that's up your alley. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and definitely watch CryoByte's Deep Dive if you want to learn how to squeeze even more performance out of your deck if you don't fear additional tinkering. Thanks for your time, Kyle.
Thanks for having me. I've had a great time here, and hopefully we'll be able to do more of these in the future.
Yeah, that would be amazing. There's nothing left to say aside from that we hope you will enjoy your adventures in the Northern Kingdoms.